Hey, everybody. Yeah, right. I always say, hey, everybody, but it's just you. Hi, person. Hi, nice person. It's Bob Saget here. Bob Saget's Here for You is the name of the podcast. I don't know why I need to tell you, you know that because you clicked on the thing. I have a guest today who I met years ago, and then I did some show called Nashville Squares for 10 minutes that I actually enjoyed doing, and she was adorable on it. And I just know that she's been a comedian forever and had affection for her. Just through comedy osmosis. And she is doing quite well and quite successful in the world of media and what she does. It's Loni Love is my guest today. She's pretty interesting. She has a deal with Lifetime. She's hosting specials. She's got The Real, that talk show that is incredibly successful in syndication. And they won Emmys a couple years ago for Daytime Emmy Awards, which is pretty cool, and a couple NAACP awards, which is quite wonderful. She wrote a book called I Try to Change So You Don't Have to, True Life Lessons. It was published in June and got great reviews. So I'm going to talk to her about that because it has a lot of the stuff that some comedians write about and how they got to where they are and why they chose comedy and how they found love. And I know that that's part of who Loni is. Originally from Detroit, woohoo! And she's passionate about STEM, which we'll discuss, and started her career as an electrical engineer. There you go. And she was stand-up comedy for many years. So we're going to be talking to her right now. You know what to do. You rate, review, you subscribe, right? It's just an easy thing to learn, and that's why I say it. Anyway, I'm sending you guys my best. I hope you're all doing well. And I'm excited. Here comes Loni Love. So here you are. You're in wardrobe. It looks like, or you're in your dressing room with clothes. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm in my home studio, Bob. I can't
that's right.
afford to.
No, I forgot you're not in. Yeah, you're not in the studio. I forgot you're still virtually Zooming the show.
We're doing everything here, and I smash everything together, and then I'm just doing everything here. So this is the Loni Love studio.
If you saw my setup, you'd be laughing out loud. It's like sometimes I'll take a box of bottled waters and I'll put an ice bucket on top of that and then put the computer and then hope things work.
I know.
I'm so happy to see you. We met. Nashville Squares was like this funny little blip in our lives that I did this show, and you were so adorable on it.
Oh, thank you.
Truly. It was like I was so happy that you were there. It was like Loni's here. And we met a long time ago, right? When was it?
It was at the Laugh Factory. You were performing. I was an up and coming comic, and I was just in admiration. And you were so kind because I would host a lot of the shows, and you would come up and do your set, and that's how we got to know each other and everything. And just a total different type of comic, and which I love, and I learned so much watching your career.
That's sweet.
It's just nice. It's really nice to be able to now, be able to work with you and actually get to know you, because it's two different sides of you, I think.
I think there's 4 now. I'm trying to grow up, but it's very hard when you're a comedian, and I'm always putting my foot in my mouth. I don't know what to say anymore because of this world we're in.
No, we love it though, Bob. You have to continue to be you. We love it.
Everybody loves it. I'm finding out that I'll just tee it up more before I say something wrong and then apologize after. So
exactly.
So you're so wonderful to watch, and I remember all the hugs. We used to hug a lot when we were allowed to hug.
Yeah.
And you always had so much love in you. And your name you were born with that name, or did you choose it?
I chose my name because, my name is Loni, but I wanted something to kind of be memorable. And I wanted to, I was trying to envision myself as this entertainer, and what is it that's something that just sounds cute. So I was like, Loni, what goes with Loni, Loni, Loni? And I was like, love. And it's like LL and Loni. And then you start writing all like the way it'll look and the logos. And I was like, way ahead of my time. So that's why I chose love. And I'm glad I did, because, it's just, I like to spread love and joy and peace and levity too. So, and that's what I'm trying to do. And, it's been a long road for me, but it's been a good road, and I wouldn't change anything for the world.
You came up the way I came up, the hard way, but yours is harder than mine. And I know from your book, and I've been able to not read the whole thing, but read as much as I could. And I'll just show it because I have a picture of it. So why not? I tried to change so you don't have to. True Life Lessons. It was published in June and it got great reviews. And here it is. So that would be the book. And it's very honest. You change some names and then other stuff, you go spot on when it comes to you.
Oh yeah, my mom, that bitch right there, I tell you, it's like, whoa, I didn't change her name.
So your mom, you would say she was a bitch?
You have to read the book to see why I'm joking, but why people, it's revealed what she did. And a lot of people were really, really shocked. And, of course, whenever you're doing a memoir, you're over it, but when you have to relive it, and when new people see it, they're like, oh, are you serious?
Right.
And you're like, yeah, it happened. But the reason why you tell the story is not to, keep bringing it up, is to show that you can outdo and you can outgrow and you can overcome all kind of tragedies. So it's fine. And that's what I believe in. And so that's the purpose of telling that story, to show that look at where I am today. I mean, I grew up in the projects during the crack era, and I'm not even supposed to be here. I was looking at you doing Full House, and look at what happens when you put hard work.
Yeah.
And, what kills me is like when people want to talk about our country and say you can't make it. Yes, you can. I didn't know anybody. And you just have to put some hard work. And that's really what this book really shows, is what did I do to make it to this point where I'm sitting here talking to Bob Saget, who I grew up watching.
I don't look at myself. I'm playing with a light. I'm so confused. I'm in the shade.
Get your light right, Bob.
Well, I met you and I went through stuff. I wrote a book about it, Dirty Daddy, and I lost 2 sisters. I lost my parents, a lot of people, a lot of loss, got divorced, difficult stuff. And you went through a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But this is the thing. We have to share our stories,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, they think that they know me. They see us on television, Bob, and they go, oh, you guys just got there. You're lucky. And it's like, no, you don't understand people's stories. I worked at a car company for like 6 months before I decided, I'm going to go and do something different with my life. I was building 500 cars a day in Detroit. And I ended up getting a mentor, and he told me, hey, you need to go to college because this isn't the type of life for you. And so I'm glad that I did. And I got an engineering degree. And that's how I really started doing comedy, because I was a clown. But I was also a broke college student. And one day I was at a bar and they had a story. They said, well, we'll give $50 to someone that has the best story. And I really needed that money because I needed to buy an English book. And so I just got up there on stage and made up a story. And I didn't realize that was my stand-up career. That was the start of it, because I was amazed. And
were you like 19 or 20?
Yeah, I was like 19 years old. And I don't even remember what the story was about. I just know I needed that money. And it's funny how when you're desperate and you need things, what your mind and what you can do when you really need it. But I went on ahead and I got my engineering degree because I thought that it would be important. I didn't never think I would be a serious stand-up comic. And I ended up getting a job at Xerox in El Segundo. And I always look at signs, Bob. I like, signs that, before I make moves, I got to feel or see a sign. And I got this job offer from Xerox because it was in El Segundo. And I said, Red Fox on Sanford and Son always talked about El Segundo. You remember that?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I was like, I'm going to El Segundo. So that's why I took the job in El Segundo because of Red Fox, And I was an engineer for about 8 years. It was good, but then it was bad at the same time because I just wasn't happy. I knew something was different. I didn't want to just get married. For a Black woman at that time, I was 23 years old. It was a culture shock for me because you got to remember, I grew up in the projects. Now I'm put into this corporate environment. And I talk about that in the book, how different it was. Like, Monday morning meetings, Bob, they're like, okay, everybody go around. And, people are like, oh, yeah, we went to Big Bear with the family. We went skiing. What did you do, Loni? I went to the Snoop Dogg concert. So it's a big difference.
I would have chose that over Big Bear.
I know. But, it was just a culture difference. But I never felt like I was out of place. I just felt like this wasn't the life for me. And I try to encourage people that when you're not happy, you're not feeling happy, to do something different with your life. And so one day I went to the Comedy Store and I had been going to a lot of the comedy clubs. I saw you at the Laugh Factory one day and I saw the whole show and that had me thinking. And then I went to the Comedy Store one day and there was all these guys doing stand-up and there was only one female. And I was like, wow, only one. And I started just researching and I said, there has to be more females in this. And that's when I started doing stand-up. I started dipping my toe, went to open mics and I worked really hard. I did free gigs, all the stuff that, when you don't have a name and you don't have an act, you start building it up.
Yeah.
And got out of it.
And then how did you start on the road? Because you've been touring for a long time.
Yes. I had been doing, I needed to get into the Laugh Factory. That was the first thing because I wanted to get and see you guys, the professional comics, because I had been doing the Chitlin Circuit, which for people that don't know what the Chitlin Circuit is, it's like the hole in the walls, not really established place. You might get paid, you might not get paid. You got to cut somebody. So
yeah,
that's what you have to do. But and so the Laugh Factory had a every Tuesday, I don't know if you remember this, to become a regular, Jamie Masada, the owner, would have open mic every Tuesday. But he would take the first 20 people and you would have to sit there and sign up at 6:00 in the morning because we were so desperate to try to get on that if you left, someone would come and scratch your name out. So you would have to literally be there at 6:00 in the morning and stay there so nobody would scratch out your name. I did that for 3 years. And it was like, you would get a spot and then Jamie, he would actually critique you and he would say, you got to come back in 6 months. So you only going on 20 and he kept passing. But the last year, the third year that I did it, I got a standing ovation. He gives you 3 minutes. And I remember sitting down talking to him. I said, look, if you don't make me a regular tonight, I'm not coming back. I said, I've been doing this for 3 years, because in that 3 years, I was building up my act. I was watching you guys. I was doing everything. And I had a really solid act and I got a standing ovation. And he said, come back the next night. And once that happened, I was able to meet professional comics that actually took me on the road. I became, the MC. Then I moved up to feature act. And finally, I was headlining. And finally, I was still working all this time. I'm still working my day job. So
wow.
When people say, was it easy? It's like, no, because I was literally, I was signing $5 million contracts because I was a project engineer and I'm doing stand-up at night. And finally, there was an opening for the Aspen Comedy Festival. And this was years when they had the Aspen, because it were 2 comedy festivals, and you know this, that with the, the cream of the creme, it was the Montreal Comedy Festival. And at the time it was the HBO Comedy Festival. And they ended up having an open call. I was able to get the spot out of 600 comics. I got that one spot and went to the Aspen Comedy Festival, got best prize or best new face.
I saw your set. It was great.
Remember? I was so nervous.
Yeah, it didn't show. And that's what it is, because you've been doing it,
That's it. And that's what I'm telling when you put in the work, it's like all those years of putting in the work, going out at night, staying out to 1, 2 o'clock, you got to wait. Cause that's the time, but we didn't have, Instagram and TikTok to, to do our set or to be funny. We had to actually be in the club. They didn't know you. So they said, well, if somebody, and don't let Bob Saget come. Bob Saget come, you get knocked back.
But I would only do 10 minutes, 10, sometimes 20. But some people would come in and do an hour. And that was, and then I'm learning when I go back and I want to work out, I'm going to put my name on the lineup. I'm going to do it nicely. Or maybe it'll be special guests just so, but I don't want to bump anybody ever again. And I was doing it because I'd only do like 10 minutes. I'd get in the car and I'd go, I've got to get these 3 things out. I got to think about them, but I don't like bumping people. It's just not. I worked so hard to get where I got.
But you guys, to me, it didn't bother me because 1, I was learning. I was able to learn from you. And 2, you earned it. You were on television. In order to keep those clubs open,
well, when Robin Williams would come by, we just put him up, but But when I was at the Comedy Store one night, I was emceeing for 7 years. And I didn't have a day job. I was trying to get jobs and act. And Richard Mitzi came over to me and said, Richard's here. You're not going on tonight. And I went, well, it's Richard. So, and Richard goes on. First, he comes up to me, goes, I'm really sorry. And I didn't realize it. Here I was losing my spot. And Richard felt so bad. That's when our friendship happened. So that's when I started to be friends with him. And then he got off stage and he says, you want to see my Testarossa? And I wrote this in the book too. I said, well, was he asking me to look at his crotch? I didn't know, And then he went out and he showed me the car, a brand new Testarossa. He says, it costs $250,000. I don't know what the fuck it does. And you want to get in it? I went, no. I was so depressed. I didn't get my spot. But that's, and I waited in line, same thing, 12 hours in New York. I'd sit there all day, couldn't leave. I had my girlfriend kept the spot. Then I would get somebody to eat and come back.
Yep.
So now you're an engineer during the day. Then you go do a spot. Now I would assume you started doing a lot of spots, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you do a spot, you're up all night. You can't go to bed.
Yeah.
So were you getting like 3 hours a night all that time?
It was getting 3 hours a night. But that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I really wanted to build up my name, and I had to build up my act. I had to find out who I was. I had to get over stage fright. So I ended up going to the Ice House. And the Ice House, they allowed me to be an MC for free, of course. I did that for 3 years, but that really helped me to get my stage presence and understand who I was and what worked and what didn't work. And then I would go down to the Laugh Factory, to the Comedy Store, and it was like all research. It wasn't about the jokes. It was about understanding this beautiful art of comedy. But it took a good 5 to 6 years to where I felt comfortable, and not knowing that the Aspen Comedy Festival would be coming, but I was just working and I knew something was going to happen.
Right.
And once that happened, but I was still working. And so I was able to maintain, but I had no other type of life. I mean, I missed the birthday parties. I didn't have a social life. It was basically work and then comedy, work and then comedy. But it paid off because this is what I really wanted to do. And that's what I put in the book. It's like, make sure this is what you really, really, really want to do. Once I got to the Aspen Comedy Festival and I got the best prize, I got a deal from HBO. I was still working. I went back. I'll never forget. I went back on Monday after I had won, and we had a massive layoff that very Monday. And I went to my boss and I said, save a job and, lay me off. Save someone else a job that really needs it and I'll be okay. And he couldn't believe it. He was like, what the hell's wrong with you? You're going to lose your dental benefits. I said, I'm fine. I will. I'm going to go get one good checkup and then I'm done.
So let me get this cavity filled and then I'm clearing my desk.
Exactly. So, and I've never looked back. That was like in 2002, 2003. And I never looked back. And I've been hustling and doing comedy and entertainment. This is what I want to do. And then that allowed me to do the road, because you were asking me about the road. Yeah. I had to leave my day job because I need to get out on the road. And, I tell people, I'm like, the road is what really builds you. I mean,
I miss it. I actually miss it. Now, that's my question. How long were you on the road? Would you say 10 years?
Yeah, it had to be over 10.
Yeah. And we would cross paths. We would be in places like West Palm and different places that
you are the rich places.
Well, I was at Miami. I was at the old Miami Improv once.
They would take so long. Oh, I hate Miami. Miami Improv, the show's supposed to start at 8. It doesn't start to 10. It's like, really, you guys? And then they're the best crowd, but they just come whenever they come.
The old club had a pillar in the middle of it that it took up the whole room. I don't understand it. It's like 20 feet in diameter. It's like there's an audience that should have been there.
I know.
So now I just know that you do, and I've seen what you do. You do some elements of what I try to do, which is make people feel better and make yourself feel better, because it's an exchange program.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And that's kind of, look where you are now. You've got your new production company, I know, is called True Love. So how new is this? And we know how you came up with the name. So when did you start this? Because you're quite the businesswoman now.
Well, thank you for that. I decided to start a production company because there's so much content that's needed. And there's a lot of business out there to be had, but there are a lot of different type of creators. I like producing. I think I have an eye for it. And it's not just producing myself, but other people. Mm-hmm. And right now is the time, especially for women of color, to work with networks, to work with studios, because they sit here and they say, well, we want to do this, but we don't have the expertise. So that's when I come in. And it's been a really good thing. It's about a year old. I've been working with people like studios and networks like Lifetime and OWN and WeTV, the female networks, and it's been really good. But it's a very interesting. It's very interesting to see the creative and how you have one idea. It's like a joke, and as comics, we're used to producing our shows. Right. So we know how to produce, but it's different when you got all these other people coming in and they got to give their 2 cents, so you have to work it. You have to work it out. But this was just something that I naturally would do. And I'm just happy to start up, True Love Incorporated, and just to give opportunities to people. I want to be able to do that. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, you are, and I know that you're also, you deal with Lifetime. You're hosting specials. You recently did one with Salt and Pepper, right?
Yes. I mean, that was like,
that's crazy, right?
I just could not believe it. I was like, because I did a show with them, and they performed and I opened, and so they knew me. And so when their biopic came up, they were like, well, who would you like to introduce you, to do like a little quick 30-minute interview? And they were like, well, what about Loni Love? And I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, never as I was in college doing push it, baby, push it, would I think that this day would come where I'm sitting here talking with them, and they've been in the game for 30 years. This is why you never know where it's going to take you with entertainment or whatever you want to do in life. You never know. If it's something that's your passion and you love, stick to it, keep doing it. And, you never know what will happen.
It's hard for some people because they don't have the drive. It's like, I think we had no choice. We just had no choice. I couldn't stop my soul or whatever it was from, and I didn't even think I was going to be a comedian or a filmmaker. I wanted to be one once I quit med school because I couldn't do it. But I just love all of it. I love every single area of it. I love the collaboration of it too. That shows a true ability in your court to be able to change, because a lot of comics, they cut themselves off at the knees because they don't want to take notes. They don't want to work with someone. They'll go, I can't do it that way. But that's how you're ingratiating by nature. So it kind of served you, I think, to get to this next level you're at.
Well, definitely. I mean, and it comes from watching, people like yourself, people that are successful, what they're doing. And like I said, everybody has that story, like when we worked together, on Nashville Squares, it was just so simple. And it's the simplest things that bring out the funny. Exactly. You don't have to, write a bunch of stuff. It's like, no, stuff just happens and it's funny. But I learned that from you. I promise you, Bob, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm telling you, that's what I learned, is just to keep it simple.
Oh, you're cutting me
funny
deep.
Comes.
I believe that. And when I did that show, I was like, really? I should do that? And then a truck came in the driveway and I said, okay, and unload that right here. And then I went and did it, and I was just silly. It was like a silly thing. And now the world's changed. I mean, game shows, talk shows, everybody can do everything. You've been in movies before. You can do them if you want. If someone's right, you can develop one. I mean, it's pretty amazing the kind of work you're going to be able to do. I mean, it's like, I know that you're thinking about stuff all the time. I mean, the show that I didn't know about, and I started to watch it because Little Women of Atlanta, I've seen reality shows, but I didn't know this one existed. And now you do the after show, right? And what's the name of that?
It's called Little Women Atlanta Unfiltered.
Unfiltered. That's the key.
That's the whole key. It's the unfilteredness, And this is the thing, reality shows, hey, they get a lot of grief. But this was a reality show about little women. And I was just interested because they are little women, but they want to be treated like average size women. And I think the viewer can learn a lot by watching their lives. And they're very interesting women. The only difference is that they're little. And so this is the type of stuff when I say, as a comic, I want to be able to show people different lifestyles, not making fun of them, but showing that, hey, they're just like you. They want to have children, they have families, they have broken marriages or whatever it is.
They want to be respected too.
They want to be respected.
And that's a big thing, a theme I see in that show.
Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing. So we do the after show where we, just extend it a little bit, and it's been a great journey, and a lot of people have responded to it. So it's nice for this to be one of my projects, to be able to see how people react, and they're really tuning into it. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, there's something about the way you do it too. And then when I watch you on the reel, it's got the same element sometimes, and I know you feel that way, and you've been doing it for 7 years. I mean, it's way over 1,000 shows. But in my mind, I go back to you in a club, just working the people and knowing the people, and I know you're exercising those muscles, and you combine them with broadcasting and conversation, and that's not everybody can have that and get up there and find humor. And it can be hard sometimes, especially what's the grind like? So you do it every day, right?
We do 2 to 3 shows Monday through Wednesday. And you got to remember, before the pandemic, on Thursday, I would fly out and do my live shows. So I would do maybe 12 shows a week. Times 4 is what, 48
Right.
shows, in a whole month. Because of the pandemic, the live shows have cut down. So now I'm just doing the television shows, but that's still a lot, 2 to 3 shows a day.
Hell yeah.
For 3 days. And you gotta look at the topics, the material. Sometimes it's really serious. And I'm the comedian on the panel. So I've learned how to balance it. And I watch different comics that can balance serious, but then find a way to put the levity in. And it really has helped me. Being on Chelsea lately really helped me too.
Yeah.
I started off on Chelsea before I did the reel. And the beauty of that was that we were all comics on a panel. So we were all feeding off of each other, but I learned how to, go in and out, how to, find the levity in something that you wouldn't think you would find levity in. So it's like all of that was training, So I really
that's a clear path from doing Chelsea lately. She's got to learn to come out of her shell. You watched her on Instagram. She's in good shape.
It's like, Chelsea, put some clothes on.
She doesn't want to.
Been that way.
I know. I've known her a long time, but I never saw her naked in the snow till Instagram.
She's hilarious.
Loni, we're going to take one quick break and then maybe another short one, but here comes the break. It's really going to be exciting. All right. Just want you to know this is a paid sponsorship by our sponsor, BetterHelp. It's something that I actually think is important for everybody, which is to have good mental health, because a lot of people just aren't happy. And I can say that from experience with most people I know, and people that watch the news. It's frustrating. People that have problems with their family, with money, with life in general. So what interferes with your happiness? Is there something preventing you from achieving your goals? I mean, I've had that happen in my life. There were times years ago I couldn't even fill out a form to book an airline ticket myself. I could have had someone do it for me, but I like doing that stuff, and I literally hit a roadblock. And I got help for it, because you want to take care of your mind as well as your body. So BetterHelp is a really interesting place. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You connect in a safe and private online environment, and it's so convenient, you can start communicating in under 48 hours. This is not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online. You just send a message to your counselor anytime, and you'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, all without ever having to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. We can't do that nowadays. Who wants to? BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if you need to. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. It's important to so many people. The service is available for clients worldwide. You find the particular expertise you need online. You don't limit yourself to the counselors located near you. Licensed professional counselors, they specialize in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma, anger, family conflicts, LGBT matters, grief, self-esteem. Anything you share is confidential. It's convenient, it's professional, it's affordable, and you can check out the testimonials posted daily on their site. Again, this is not a crisis line. It's therapy. And in fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are now recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting BetterHelp at betterhelp.com/Bob. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/Bob. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Bob. Thanks so much, and take care of yourself. Okay, the break's over. So that's how much I love podcasting. I get to do that. So it's so interesting to me. You have a podcast also, and it's Cafe Mocha. Is that on are you on break right now? Are you going to go back? It's a really good show.
Well, it's a podcast plus it's a weekend radio show. We're in over 40 stations across the country, and we're on Sirius XM.
Oh,
And we
pardon me for
also
not
do a
knowing that.
podcast.
Got
No,
it.
it's fine.
So the podcast is the best of the series?
Exactly. It's the best of. So you can edit that or whatever. But yeah.
No, that's cool. Nobody will mind that. I'm the one that messed up.
Okay.
Now, where do you record that? At home right now?
Yes, I record at home right now. The purpose of that was because you have adult R&B, which is a genre of music that's kind of dying. It comes and it goes.
Right.
So what I wanted to do was pick a genre, not the hip hop, not that, but more of R&B and keep it going. And so we interview different types of people. Some people that you may know, they're also new R&B artists. But I've been doing that show for about 8 years. I was able to interview Aretha Franklin before she passed.
Oh my, what a gift.
And there are a lot of people that I grew up that I was able to put on the show that, were the older, like the Motown artists, people like that. So I felt like that was my purpose for doing Cafe Mocha, is to try to keep their history alive and also introduce them, to the new viewers that maybe don't know them.
Well, everybody knows Aretha. What a gift.
Yeah, that was and she told me before she passed, she was working on, her movie. She said that she finally approved the script, and it's the Respect movie that's coming out. And she said, I want Jennifer Hudson to play me. So she knew that that's who she wanted to play her, was Jennifer Hudson. So I'm just glad to see that her wish is coming true. So
well, she broke down so many doors and so many barriers. And what she had to come up with, what you had to grow up with, and then what she had to, the Bessie Smith story, Billie Holiday, it's unconscionable.
The list is long.
The list is long.
Getting better though.
It's
getting better.
I agree. And it's been painful for people. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't like change. And sometimes it's been with quarantine, with COVID, it's just made everything worse because I think we're all in a kettle boiling. And then with everything that happened with politics and everything, it's just, how have you dealt with it? I've gone through some of your social media. How have you rode the wave these past 2 years, really 5 years, but how are you staying positive and going through all these emotions and everything, being who you are?
Well, to be honest, Bob, comedy has always saved me, and I always lean on comedy. So when we had the pandemic and the shutdown, I wanted to do something for, my family, which I call followers. And I started doing these IG lives where we would do, it would be like talent shows. And, I would just have them, produce their talent. And we were doing that on a weekly basis. Or I would just get on IG Live for an hour and we would play different games. And it was just because we were all isolated. And I just leaned on comedy. If it wasn't, I feel like we're entertainers, and it doesn't matter whether it's a pandemic or whether it's some great time, we're still entertainers, and it's our responsibility to entertain. And then, we found ways to do things. One of my other shows that I produced was Bridezillas on WeTV. Right. And right in the middle of the pandemic, we had all of the footage, but I had to do voiceovers for it. So we ended up using my closet to start to finish up a show. And it's right. Like, who would have thought that, and it worked. It's like, it's like, so basically if you watch that show, I did it from my closet. And it's funny how it's like, got all kind of stuff. So now I'm just like, you know what? My closet is a great recording studio. It's like, it's funny when you're in trouble, what you can come up with when you need to get it done. We need to get the job done. So I learned that. But what has really helped me to answer your question is comedy. Comedy saved me. And I just try to get that out. And I try to be that person to let people know that we're going to be okay. I use my platform to present messages. I think it's very important that, that when you have a platform as big as ours, we have to be responsible with it. Mm-hmm. So, the wearing the mask, socially distance, all that kind of stuff, but also being able to take people and let them escape for a minute. That I felt was my responsibility as an entertainer. And that's what I tried to do.
Right. I tell people just to be safe when they listen to my podcast, they should wear a mask. Just because I've had one shot. I actually got one because I turned too. And so that's important to be able to get it.
I think people are coming around to it. I happened to be walking and I saw this tent and it had like the LA council person and it was just a tent, and I just walked to it because I was like, oh, I'm just being nosy. And I wanted to like get some more information. And I was like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, oh, it's the vaccinations. And I was like, oh, and then, but it was for the city workers. So I said, oh, okay, well, that's really nice. I just wanted to figure out what you guys were doing. They were like, well, we've given it out to everybody and we have like 3 extra. So if you want one, I was like, are you serious? I was like, yes.
I know a few people that have been able to do that, and that's allowable, and nobody is upset about that. And I know people that waited in line like they're waiting for a comedy spot, for 12 hours at Dodger Stadium, and there were a couple of shots left, and they got them.
Yeah.
Mine was kind of like that also.
Sure that I didn't want to take anybody's shot. I was like, I can wait. But I think they are opening up for everybody now. And that's a push that we want to make sure that, especially with this administration, that everybody can get shots. So they're promising by May that everybody that wants one can get one. So,
that will, if people will get them, that will change the United States, and it will change the world if they can do it.
Because I want to travel. I'm ready to get back out.
Yeah. I mean, I was able to do a movie in the Cayman Islands because there are no cases in the Cayman Islands. And I went there and they put me in quarantine for 16 days. Oh. I didn't see anybody. Took a test at the airport. They put you in a van. You think you're being kidnapped in Russia. And then I were taken to the loading dock of the hotel, the whole cast of the movie. And then they take us up to a quarantine floor in an elevator that no one else takes but people that are being quarantined. And you have a guard outside your door. And it was 16 days in a hotel right you look out and see the ocean. And you're like, I wish I could go outside, but you can't leave the room. The guard, it was in the news, one young girl, a 20-year-old lady girl, woman, I don't know what to do.
We got you.
Right. Thank you. She did it. She escaped. She took her bracelet off that said she's in quarantine and left, and they put her in jail for 3 months. Right here on the Cayman Islands, where I'm no longer, I don't think, because this is a week after I left. But it was amazing to not wear a mask. And that's why the world has to, look what they did. They have 75,000 people and they locked it down. And people aren't doing that. They don't want to. And, the Texas governor doesn't want to. No. And I understand. Who doesn't understand that we're all going nuts and enough is enough? But we're sliding home. We really are, unless you think the vaccine has bugging devices in it,
Exactly.
Unless you're a nutty nut.
Yeah. Yeah. And then people, want to say, well, we don't know what's in it. I'm like, do you know what's in your cough medicine? No. You don't even know what's in your
flu shot. Say that again.
Nobody knows. All right. I think we have to trust science. We have to trust doctors. But I wanted to know real quick, 16 days, what did you do? How did you not go stir crazy?
I was doing my podcast, which helped. I was working on another script that I'm writing for a movie I'm going to direct. And that took a lot of time. So I was doing draft after draft and sending it to my producer and to, an actor. And I was doing developing another show. I've been writing jokes down some. Have you been doing that? Have you been coming up with, how do you do it? Do you write it on paper? Do you put it in your notes on your phone? What do you do?
Yeah, I put it on my notes on my phone. Just whenever I think of something, I'll just, like, oh, that'll be good because I'm working on a special. So the COVID special. So that's what I'm working on.
When do you plan to do it?
Hopefully by the end of this year. I want to get, it's so many projects right now that it's a lot of opportunities for people. And I'm just trying to make sure I have everything set. But I want to be able to go out and work it. And that's the thing. The clubs are, basically closed. So I think by the end of this year, I'll be able to just go out and knock out the jokes and make sure that they're okay and the way I want it. And then I can just tape it. So
you will. That's what I'm planning to do. I'm supposed to be in Denver in May at the Comedy Works. And I don't know. We'll see what the laws are, but we'll see how fast the shots get out. Because if everybody's been immunized, it
should be okay. I think it'll be okay by May. I just feel bad for, my fellow comedy brothers and sisters that really need that road work, and they're not, a lot of them have been going out to the places that are open across the country. I really feel bad for them,
Me too. Because they don't have any income at all.
At all. So we started like a little fund and, we were helping them out, but it's just so many of them that depended on that. It was really hard. So, that's why we got to get this over, because a lot of people are hurting. And I was able to be lucky because I was in television, but if I was there, I really would have been hurt.
Same here. And it's, I feel so bad for people that are in so much pain right now. So they turn to your show and that's their conversation, whether, and even your radio show, your podcast, all of that stuff, you become a companion to people. Don't you see a difference in how people are reacting on social media with you?
Definitely. I mean, people show their appreciation. That's the reason why, I try to do as many podcasts as I can. So
I'm not that special.
No, you're special because I was surprised. But I really, I want to make time because I know that people, they need content and they're listening and they need hope and inspiration. That's what we're supposed to do. So I do try to, be there, and I'm glad that I have these projects. It's all about timing. I'm glad that I have the projects to, help people if they can escape for a little bit, let them escape. It's okay.
And also a lot of the stuff that I'm finding is happening because it was timed, because I felt everything. So my output is in sync. I'm sure you're finding that. It's in sync with the condition of people. So because you got to be able to relate and understand people's stuff. And I think that's the problem with our world, is a lot of people are just out of touch with what real people are going through.
Yeah. And people are in a bubble. And that's why I try to remind people, especially on my show, when you have a television show the way we have, I have to remind people. I mean, I have to even remind, some of my producers. I'm like, hey, don't forget, we're okay. But there are a lot of people that aren't. So we have to, make sure that there are certain topics and certain things that we say that's going to help them, not just, because sometimes you get in a bubble as a producer and going, you think everybody's you. No, everybody's not you.
Right.
So, you have to really watch that and be sensitive to that. So I try that.
And that was show business for years, was just, LA, New York, and little Chicago. They don't, and they call them the flyover states. Well, you and I've been to every state. I've been to
Yep.
most cities in every state. So they're the fly to states,
Exactly.
and a stand-up gig's like a date.
Mm-hmm. And these are the people that, eventually, they go to the clubs, but they also watch your shows. They also, they consume your content, and they're just regular, working people. And, that's why I try to do my best when it comes, even with politics, to make sure that the different messages are getting to people, because everybody has a right to be happy and live the way they want to live.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that, everybody has a fair shot. So, it's so much opportunity now. And I'm just glad that I'm in a position that I can help spread the positive messages. And I'm thankful and blessed. And I try to be careful, with the platform.
That's so beautiful about you.
Oh,
Wish I could.
You are crazy.
I am, but I'm honest. That's what happens with age. I don't know. I'm not old. I mean, I
at all. You're not.
No, I got a third chapter that's gonna pack a wallop.
Oh, I can't wait.
So now I've known you a long time. You were single a long time. Mm-hmm. And so is it okay to talk about that when you?
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't think I'd get married again. I was divorced 25 years ago or something. And I'm friends with my ex, and we have 3 great kids. But my wife, I married my wife, and I didn't think it would happen. I tried. No, nothing was right. What was the game changer for you?
I think for me, I looked around one day, and I'd been on the road for 10 plus years, and I think it was the holidays, and I was looking around, and I'm like, everybody has somebody. And I'm sitting here going, what are you going to do in the future? Like, are you going to spend your holidays by yourself, or going on a nice trip, but you're by yourself, or, you're with a girlfriend, but you're still by yourself. Right. And so I said I needed to, really start actively looking for someone to share the rest of my life with, or at least, part of it.
As long as this shall last.
Exactly. So, and I just started online dating. It was really hard for me. The thing is that once you get on television, it's kind of hard, because it's like you're dealing with people that's, fans, and then you got people that's dealing with fetishes, and you got to weed all those people out.
Right.
And so I ended up, finally whittling it down to 2 guys, and dated and just had fun. And I tell women to know what you want in your relationships. And that's what I talk about too in the book, about, understanding who you are and what is it that you want. Because, life is short, but you don't want to keep wasting your time. And right. I just found a really nice guy, and we are compatible. And that's what I love about it. I think some people were a little surprised because he's white. But I'm like, I never thought, I wasn't looking out for, color or whatever. I was looking for somebody that I was compatible, that would make me laugh, that would go to the concerts. I like going to Disney concert halls. Maybe I have to go on a trip and he could go with me or something like that. That's what I was looking for. And that's what I found. And so I tell people it's possible, especially when you're in your 40s. It's like a lot of women out there, they think that they can't find love, and they think it's over. I'm like, girl, it's not over.
Not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. 40's young. People don't know that. I have a friend who's 99, and he's very strong and smart, and seriously, and he's in love, and he's his second wife, and he's got 7 kids, and he's just one of the best people I know. And people are living longer too. That's another thing.
And it's a beautiful thing. Just don't give up. Keep moving. It's just like when I did comedy, I never gave up. I'm like, I'm going to find a manager. I'm going to find a show. I'm going to find my way. But while you're finding your way, enjoy yourself too. Don't just get so caught up with everything that you forget to enjoy yourself and enjoy your journey. And so I remind people.
I've said that to myself and went to therapy for it because I was not enjoying the ride. And I was, and it's at times when you're working the hardest, when maybe you're in the spotlight the most. And if you're not enjoying that, you got to rest and get your mind settled so you can enjoy it, because it doesn't happen to a lot of people where they can be doing something that they love. But if you can burn out from exhaustion, that's where people, or the ego of show business and all the craziness. That's why we see so many people doing crazy stuff, and then we go, oh, why'd they do that? It's because they shorted out when they made mistakes. Can you say, was it a famous app that you met him on?
It was the Bumble app. Yeah. It was, and I liked Bumble because it's basically the woman chooses the man. Like the man, it's like based on the bee.
That's
so it's
every
like
relationship I ever had.
I love it. But I like that for a woman that's single and maybe you don't want to have to deal with certain aspects. It's better because you have to contact the man. He can only sting you, and then that's it. It's cute.
Is there a bee when you open it up? Is there a bee?
Yes, Bob, there's a bee. It's called Bumble.
And is there honey? Do they give you honey?
Later on, it's going to be
that's
honey.
when you get it. I also heard you talking that you were cutting out sugar and you were cutting out alcohol and you were doing all this stuff. And this is kind of recent, right?
Yeah, the beginning of this year, I said I need to do some changes. I mean, we all gained weight for the pandemic.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something to help me and my followers. So I said, okay, December 31st was going to be my last drink. And I said, we'll do dry January, and I make everybody join me. And those that did, we feel like we accomplished something. And so for the month of February, I said, we're going to cut sugars because it's the shortest, month of the year, and it was Black History Month. So
right.
Like let's make it happen. So we did that, and so now March is moving March, where we move every day, even if it's for 5 minutes. Do something, some type of exercise, walking, things like that. And it's really been helping me to be held accountable, but it's also helping so many people like, oh my God, you're motivating me into this. And I'm like, this is what I want, And so, especially with this terrible pandemic, we need to get healthier. So we just do these challenges, and it's been going great.
It's so
I'm
great.
a little sore, but I'm okay.
What primarily do you do? You can't really, do you go outside? Do you take walks?
Yeah, I do take walks, but they're wonderful apps. Like, I know Apple and Peloton, they have, even if you don't have the bike, they have, like these at home, and you can do like 10-minute, 20-minute dance routines or exercises. There's also yoga. So I encourage, and I don't get paid or anything for none of these. I'm just like,
you're helping empower people.
Yeah. It's like, just do it and move.
It helps you. It does. It's like you're saying, because they're doing
really
it.
Does.
You're like really the Peloton instructor. And it's like, oh, wait, I better keep up with my classmates.
Exactly.
Or my students.
Exactly.
Dude, and people don't realize how important stretching is. And that's like, it's so good. If I don't stretch before I'm going to work out, that's where little things crack or something doesn't feel good.
Exactly. You got to stretch. You got to bend over. You got to touch those toes.
Hold on. Say that again. Talk fast. I'm alone. I thought you were going to give me an exam. You gotta bend.
I'm trying to get David Allen Greer to do it. You gotta, David Allen Greer.
I've been trying to get him to bend over for years. He won't do it.
David will not exercise, Bob. I'm trying to get him.
I love him so much.
I know, he's such a joy. So I'm always messing with him.
David, he beats to a different drum.
Definitely.
He's got such an artist mind, He's funny as hell. I was watching an old Living Color the other night, and it was just fantastic. It was Damon played Farrakhan, and it was a Star Trek, and Jim Carrey was William Shatner, and David Allen was he, I think he was Spock, I'm pretty sure. And it
I'm
was,
trying to think that one. Yeah.
and he
I
was
think he
so
was.
young and it was so cute. And they cut to him with the ears on and the whole audience just lost it.
Just cracked up. He's a
So,
pure nut.
and he's so talented, you know,
Oh
amazing
yeah.
on Broadway. And he's been a friend for years. You know, we all came up together. It's interesting.
He was actually the last play that I went to go see. He was in a soldier's play. It was
Right.
him and Blair Underwood. And that was the last play because I told him, he said he was going to be there and he said it was limited. So I said, I'm flying to New York just to see you, just to see. And I'm so glad because then it was like right in the pandemic, it was like done.
The play before he got nominated for a Tony. Do you know what that one was?
Porky and Bess.
I watched that. I didn't see the production. I saw pieces of it because they don't film plays, but you see pieces. And when I was watching the Tony Awards and they showed him in the audience, I just started tearing up. And I was thinking about the improv and the Laugh Factory, you know, and just hanging out. And he always made me laugh. He had such a way. He has a way of talking. He has a it's very, I don't know. He has a scientific, oh, really? That's how you're going to deal with that? It's very smart. It's very good. And it's the best put down that put me in my place. No matter what I said, he has a way of just putting me in my place. And I always just adored him because that meant he knows me, you know? He reads people really well. Very smart.
Really good.
Loni, you have a thing I want to know about. You're passionate about STEM. And tell me about that. Tell everybody.
STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And it's, it's all about the sciences. And it's about women in STEM. So it's something I work with Michelle Obama, different organizations to make sure that young women that are interested in STEM or don't have the opportunity that they are given opportunities. So we make different type of organizations, mentorship programs to help out the young women in STEM. And I just did a panel with Gina Yashere and some other wonderful women that work for Warner Brothers. And it's going to be at the South by Southwest panel. And we're talking about how we were all women in STEM, but we transferred over to entertainment. And so it's things like that, just to make women aware that they can become, they can, have, they can be in the arts, but they can also still be the scientists, the chemists, and things like that. And it's just very important to give that information out.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And also the fact that they believe in science. I don't understand. I don't want to get into it, but it's frustrating. We're in a frustrating world, but I believe we are moving forward.
We are. We have to keep hope and we have to just keep pushing the messages out there. And that's it. We're going to have our cousins that we got to, we got to bring them along, but it's fine. Let people think what they want to think. And then when they have questions, they come to us, and it's important to have the right information, and you can tell them, and then you'll see, this is what's happening. So, they're always going to be those people.
Yeah. It's just, I don't react well to, I don't do negative is kind of what I just can't do it. You want to do some of this? No, it's negative. Well, I love you so much and you're so positive and I'm so happy for you. You have so many great things that you're doing now and coming up. I'm just thrilled. Well,
Bob, thank you for always being a friend and always being a wonderful talent. And you have never changed. I want people to know that no matter what, you have never changed. You've always been a great guy. And, we're going to continue working together. So thank you for this moment.
Thank you, Loni. I can't wait to hug you. I don't think your husband will be upset. We won't have to find each other on Bumble in the private room. Lots of love.
Tell the family hello.
I will.
All right. Bye-bye.
Love you. Be well. Well, that's Loni Love, who really, has worked hard through her life and continues to, and really does put out positivity and love. So I've known her a long time, and she's always been a sweetheart in my life. She's got that book, I Tried to Change So You Don't Have to. I loved what I was reading, and it has some interesting fictional stuff that's kind of creative and fun. I went through it enough to recommend it and tell you that it's really well written. She's just wonderful. You'll see her on the reels. She does the Little Women of Atlanta unfiltered. You want to see that. It's really interesting. And her radio show, Cafe Mocha. And, you know, you're going to be seeing so many projects from Loni Love. And just thanks for listening. And you know what you do, you rate, review, you subscribe. You can actually, I'm going to call you guys soon. So there's a phone number up there, and I'll tell you when on Twitter or Instagram stories, and then leave a message, and I'll make a subject, you know, that makes it more specific rather than how are you doing? Well, you know, I don't know. I've been eating cornflakes. So we'll come up with something a little more, you know, I don't know, laser focused. That's a real popular word these days. Oh, man, what a world. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're coming out of this as we move into the summer and then get into 2021. And it's a much brighter future for everybody. And I'm really wishing you and your loved ones and people that you even barely like, good health. Take it easy. I'll talk to you on the next episode of Robert Saget is Here for You. Thanks, guys.